The fat cat was strolling down the street, enjoying a peaceful day. A weak cry echoed from a dark alley, startling the fat cat. Curious, the fat cat jumped down, slowly approaching the strange sound. A small tiger cub trembled beside a trash bin, its wounded leg bleeding. Before the fat cat could get closer, a stray dog appeared, eyes filled with hunger. The fat cat puffed up, raised its fur, and growled, trying to look bigger than it actually was. The dog lunged, but the fat cat swiftly dodged, knocking over the trash bin. Taking advantage of the distraction, the tiger cub crawled toward the fat cat. The fat cat glanced at the cub, then suddenly leapt forward, scratching the dog's face. The dog yelped in fear and backed away before running off. The fat cat took a deep breath, then turned to the cub, its eyes filled with determination. Unable to carry the cub, the fat cat used its nose to push it little by little. They sneaked into the sewers, but a giant sewer rat blocked their way. The fat cat narrowed its eyes, ready to fight this new obstacle. After a chaotic battle, the rat was defeated, and the path was clear. Finally, the fat cat brought the tiger cub home, where warm blankets and food awaited. Seeing the shivering cub, the fat cat carefully licked its wounds clean. The cozy kitchen was filled with a delicious aroma as the fat cat prepared a special meal. The tiger cub ate slowly, its eyes shining with gratitude. That night, the fat cat curled up beside the tiger cub. This was just the beginning of their journey. The fat rabbit was nibbling on a carrot under the moonlight, enjoying a peaceful evening. A faint cry echoed from the edge of the forest, making the rabbit perk up its ears in surprise. Seeing nothing around, the fat rabbit decided to leave the garden to investigate. Under a tree, a small squirrel was trembling, its back badly injured. Before the rabbit could help, it noticed a hungry fox lurking nearby. Despite its fear, the fat rabbit stood firmly in front of the squirrel, eyes shining with determination. The fox lunged, but the rabbit quickly leapt aside, kicking up a cloud of dust. The little squirrel crawled toward the fat rabbit, seeking protection. With a strong kick, the rabbit sent dirt flying into the fox's face, momentarily blinding it. Seizing the opportunity, the rabbit quickly pulled the squirrel into the bushes to escape. After distracting the fox, the fat rabbit carefully guided the squirrel back home. They sneaked past a small stream, but the rabbit had to help the squirrel cross the slippery rocks. Along the way, the rabbit found some healing herbs and placed them on the squirrel's wound. At last, they arrived at the rabbit's warm burrow, safe from the predator. Skillfully, the fat rabbit applied medicine to the squirrel's wound, easing its pain. Seeing the squirrel shiver, the rabbit decided to prepare a small meal for nourishment. They shared the meal together, and the gap between rabbit and squirrel disappeared. After eating, the little squirrel regained its strength and wagged its tail in gratitude. At dawn, the squirrel felt strong enough to return to the forest. The fat rabbit watched its small figure disappear, knowing that it had just made a new friend. On a high tree branch, a young owl timidly looked down at the unfamiliar forest around it. On the ground, a small mouse was busy gathering seeds, completely unaware that it was being watched. The young owl flapped its wings, trying to fly down, but lost balance and fell straight to the ground. The little mouse jumped in surprise, dodging to the side, and stared at the fluffy owl sprawled out before it. The young owl looked at the mouse in confusion, while the mouse tilted its head curiously, showing no fear. Suddenly, the owl's stomach growled, revealing its long hunger. The little mouse hesitated for a moment, then suddenly pushed a berry toward the owl. The young owl blinked in surprise, staring at the berry. It had never eaten something that didn't run away. The little mouse took a bite, then winked as if to say, "It's delicious, try it." After a moment of hesitation, the young owl pecked at the berry, then happily ate the whole thing. Realizing that the owl couldn't fly, the little mouse decided to lead the way to find more food. Together, they moved toward a small stream, where many sweet berries had fallen from the trees. The little mouse hopped across the stones, but the young owl hesitated. Unsure how to follow. Trying to jump, the young owl slipped and fell into the water, flapping its wings in panic. Thinking quickly, the little mouse rolled a branch into the water, helping the owl climb up. Once on shore, the owl was soaking wet, its feathers puffed up in frustration, while the little mouse giggled. After a night of rest in the burrow, the young owl decided to try flying again. The little mouse stood below, waving its tiny paws in encouragement, while the owl spread its wings wide. This time, the young owl lifted off the ground and soared into the deep forest. Before disappearing, the owl turned back and let out a soft hoot, a thank you to its small but brave friend. The big, chubby panda lay lazily on a tree branch, slowly chewing bamboo under the setting sun. Suddenly, it heard a faint groan coming from beneath the misty forest canopy. Lifting its head, the panda lazily rolled down to the ground, curiously moving toward the sound. Amid the low bushes, a tiny red panda was trembling, its front leg badly injured. The big panda lowered its head, gently sniffing the wound with thoughtful eyes. Seeing the red panda struggling to stand but failing, the big one gave it a soft nudge of encouragement. Without waiting long, the big panda lay down on its belly, inviting the little red panda to climb onto its back. At first hesitant, the red panda eventually climbed up, clutching the soft fur gently. The big panda stood up slowly, walking carefully, glancing back from time to time to make sure the red panda was comfortable. They walked through the bamboo forest, sunlight streaming through the leaves, illuminating their peaceful journey. Finally, the big panda stopped by a small stream and gently lowered its back. The red panda was placed on a soft bed of leaves, nuzzling into the big panda's chest as if to say thank you. Without hesitation, the big panda gathered leaves and moss, making a soft nest for the little one to rest. Afterward, it fetched some clear spring water, carrying it in a small bamboo cup and setting it beside its new friend. Seeing the red panda was parched, the big panda gently pushed the cup closer to help it drink more easily. Next, it carefully chewed some tender bamboo and offered it as the red panda's first meal after the accident. After eating, the red panda slowly regained its strength. Trying to stand up, it swayed a little but was no longer in pain. The big panda patiently walked beside it, watching each small, cautious step like an elder brother. When morning came, the red panda looked toward its familiar forest. Knowing it was time to return, it climbed up the tree, turning back one last time before disappearing into the dense green foliage, leaving the big panda resting by the stream, peacefully asleep.